Flowood, Mississippi can be a fantastic city in the Jackson metro area for you to live in if you're thinking about moving to the area and trying to pick a city in the area to live in. But like any city, there's going to be good things and there's going to be bad things. And that's why in this video, we're going to be diving into all those good things and bad things, the pros and cons of living in Flowood, Mississippi. And we're getting after it right now. What's up and welcome to yet another video here on the Living in Jackson, Mississippi YouTube channel. My name is Jared Lash. I'm a realtor with Keller Williams right here in the Jackson Metro. On this channel, we're giving you information about the area and we'll take you out sometimes and show you around, show you all the places that you can go. If that's what you're looking for, make sure you get down there, hit that subscribe button and click the bell because we've got videos giving you just that every single week coming out. You don't want to miss it. And you know, if you're someone who really is thinking about making a move here to the area, you're gonna want to take that just one step further and go ahead and reach out to us. We've got people doing it all the time. We love it. We cannot wait to help you make the move here to the Jackson Metro. So go ahead, give us a call, text us, email us, DM us. You can even break out your megaphone. It don't matter what you do as long as you get in touch with us because we've got your back moving here to the Jackson Metro. But let's get into it in this video. Like I said, we are talking about Flowood, Mississippi. There's a lot of people that live there. It's a great place to live for a lot of reasons. So we're gonna talk about a lot of those great reasons, the big pros living in the area. I sat down and I tried to think of everything. I usually try to have an even number. You know, I want to have, you know, maybe 5 pros and 5 cons. I didn't come up with an exactly even number, but I do have 8 pros and 5 cons. And you know, if you live here, if you're watching this, you live in Flowood, you think of some other pros that maybe I'm leaving out or some cons that I'm leaving out. We want people to be as informed as possible. We don't want to hide anything. We're not sugarcoating it. So go down and leave that in the comments if there's anything that I forgot to include. But let's go ahead and dive into the pros. Like I said, I've got 8 of them. We're going to start with those. You know, sometimes you like to start with the bad news first. Not here. We're going to start with the good news and then we'll get into those cons. If you want those cons, make sure you stick around. We're going to get into them in just a few minutes. But first, we're going to get right into the pros. And the first one I have on the list is that there is plenty of shopping and dining for you to do here in Flowood. Matter of fact, if you live and work in Flowood, there's really not going to be too many situations where you just have to leave. Now, there may be some things you want to go into other areas, and a lot of great areas around, but for your day-to-day, you're going to have all kinds of different shopping that you can do, all the big names, a lot of local shops. I mean, anything you're used to seeing in a lot of other places like Best Buy, Target, you know, grocery stores here. We've got 2 Krogers, 3 if you count the one up by the reservoir, Walmart, Lowe's. It just keeps going. All these big names that you're used to seeing, you've got them here in Flowood. And again, mixed in with the smaller local things. You've got Dogwood, which is kind of like your more mall type stores. You know, your GameStops over there. They've got the Yard, which is like the milkshake place. If you haven't seen that, they've got like the huge milkshakes. They've got those over there. Bath and Body Works is there too. Lots of those types of stores over there in Dogwood. Then you've got Market Street, which Market Street to me has a little more local feel to it. You've got a lot of little local shops and things in there. Restaurants too, like Amerigo's, which is a local Italian restaurant chain, which I do really like. I've mentioned it before in other videos. If you like Italian, they are really nice and not overpriced. So I really like Amerigo's. But plenty of those options, as well as, you know, if you want the you know, the big chain restaurants like Buffalo Wild Wings, we've got those. All the fast food restaurants are here. Outback Steakhouse, Longhorn Steakhouse, tons of Mexican restaurants, several that you can go to, hibachi, sushi, just you name it, barbecue. You've just about got it here in Flowood. So plenty of options. There are some local dining options and restaurants, but I will say you get more of the big national chain stores in Flowood than you do the local ones. They're here, there's just not as many of them, even though the ones that are here are really good. So, but you do have those here in Flowood, just plenty of options. You're never gonna really be wanting for shopping or anything like that. It's all in Flowood. Moving on to the next thing on the list, number 2, it's in a convenient location. So on those times where you decide you do want to go out to another part of the area, or if you want to go up to the reservoir basically might as well be in Flowood. I mean, the way Flowood is set up, not a ton of residential neighborhoods are in Flowood. So you may move here and call yourself living in Flowood, but really you live in the 39047 Brandon Reservoir area that's just right adjacent to Flowood, right next to it. So, I mean, if you want to get from here to the reservoir, it's right there. You can go into Jackson straight down Highway 25. If you want to get to the airport, it might as well also be in Flowood. So I mean, it's so easy to get wherever you want to go in the area from Flowood. Now there's one caveat to that, and we'll mention that later when we get to the cons, but as far as just being able to get around to the things in this area that you want to get to, it's pretty easy from Flowood. Next up, and number 3 on my list of pros, is just that in Flowood you have got some great parks and trails running through the area. You've got the Winter Circle Park, which is the big park, where they've got the playground and everything else there. You can get out, they've got the walking trail. Just a really nice, really good park right there in the middle of Flowood. Running right by that, you've got a multi-use trail that you can get out and ride a bike on. You can walk, jog, run, whatever you want to do. And that runs all the way down from the YMCA on Flowood Drive or Liberty Road. And that runs all the way up Flowood Drive, all the way down Wirtz Road, all the way over to Hugh Ward, down part of it, and then even on farther down to Grants Ferry, just about, well, not all the way, but almost down to Grants Ferry and another part of it. And that even those trails even connect to the trails at the reservoir. So you've got all those different trail networks there that tie into Flowood, as well as right next to Winter Circle Park, right down from it, you've also got the Flowood Nature Park, which has got a trail that runs through the woods, kind of back through around a lake there. They've got a fountain and a little deck that you can go out on there, a little pavilion as well. Really, really nice nature park. So the parks and trails in Flowood are top notch, and it's great because they run right along a lot of these neighborhoods. So Laurelwood runs right by there, Aubrey Hills, Bella Ridge, several of these other ones along Wirtz Road. It's really easy. Gardens of Manship. And again, like I said, you may live next to Flowood, and it kind of feels like you're in Flowood. So Farmington Station, Turtle Ridge, Huntington, all of that is going to be right there connected to those. You can easily access those right from your neighborhood. So it's hard to beat that. You don't really have to go anywhere. I can leave my house, and full disclaimer, I live in Flowood. You can leave my house in about 2 minutes walking, I can be on this trail. So it's really nice. It's a great benefit of living here in Flowood. Next up, number 4 on my list, is just that there is very limited traffic most of the time in Flowood. Now you will get some hot spots at certain times of the day, you know, the busier 8 o'clock in the morning, but really the 4:30 to 5:30 time frame is probably the busiest. But that's going to be coming back towards Flowood from Jackson. That northbound on Highway 25 basically is where it kind of gets built up a little bit, and a little bit where Flowood intersects with Liberty Road as well can cause a little bit of backup there. But you know, by and large, really not that bad. And since I've included the reservoir area as kind of a auxiliary part of Flowood, a lot of people will be coming back across the reservoir, across the spillway in that afternoon time period too. So if you're coming maybe from Ridgeland or Madison back to Flowood, if that's your commute, you'll hit a little traffic there. But just by and large, most times of the day, you're going to be able to get out and drive around with no issues. You're not going to be waiting in traffic, waiting long times at red lights or anything like that. Matter of fact, I would go as far as to say is, compared to some other major cities and even some other areas in the metro area here, traffic's almost non-existent in Flowood. So again, another great pro for living in Flowood. Now I literally wrote down this list just as I could think of them in the order that I thought of these pros, and I didn't change it at all. So there's really no specific order here, but we're going to continue. This next one is a pretty important one. But if you get online and you look maybe at niche.com or Great Schools, you're going to see that Flowood is consistently rated as having some of the best schools in the area. As a matter of fact, the Northwest Rankin High School is on niche.com rated as the #1 high school in the Rankin County School District, which covers a huge area in Rankin County. So they're rated the #1 in this county, and they actually are getting a brand new campus starting this school year. So in August this year, We're starting at the new campus of Northwest Rankin there, so great new facility for you, for students in there. And you know, that's good for several reasons. Obviously, if you have kids that are going to be going to these schools, you want to know that you're going to be sending them to good schools where you're going to get a good education. But even if you don't have kids, the good schools are great for property values. They're going to help with your appreciation, so that when you buy now and you sell however long in the future and move to somewhere else in Flowood because you loved it so much, you're going to be able to get a good return back on that investment. So having those good school ratings really help a lot with that. And you got those here in Flowood, and I will link down below. Like I said, the niche.com is the one that I really like to use. They've got all kinds of information, ratings, reviews about the schools. You can check all those out. So I'll put that link down in the description. Number 6, and another one that's really good for appreciation of property values, is Flowood is a growing community. And let me tell you, they are growing pretty rapidly. You have got developments going up all over the place in Flowood commercially. You've got the brand new Waterpoint development, which is a mixed use. It's got commercial up front and then a big residential neighborhood in the back. They've got even a waterfront section over there. It's just a huge development right there in the center of everything, right next to Dogwood in Flowood. And they're making progress on that. They're already building houses there. The big building that's going to be kind of anchoring the square of that is mostly built from the outside. I know they've got a lot of build out left to do on the inside, but I'm just, you know, hotels are going up. Things are growing rapidly in Flowood, which tells you people are moving to the community, money is coming into the community, and you know, it's a good place to be, and people are investing into it. That's what you want to see for long-term growth, and you're definitely seeing that here in Flowood. Number 7 on my list is great for everybody, especially if you're somebody who has you know, a medical or health condition that you need to stay on top of, that you're having to go see specialists for whatever that may be. And that is just, we have a ton of medical providers and those specialists right here in Flowood. So if you don't already know, the Jackson area is the medical hub for the state. Pretty much everything that you need, if it's not in Flowood, it's in the Jackson area. But a lot of that stuff is going to be in Flowood. So whatever condition or concern you have about your health and having you know, easy access to treatment and doctors and facilities, you probably are going to have that here in Flowood. If you've got questions about something specific, you can't find what you're looking for online, definitely send me a message, leave a comment. I'll look into it and tell you what you can get here in Flowood or what you may have to go somewhere else for. But I really believe, by and large, for the most part, you're going to be able to find the care that you need right here in Flowood. And last but definitely not least on my list of pros for living in Flowood is that you have tons of activities available, you know, family activities, kid activities, if that's what you're looking for, you know, gymnastics or dance or Little League, all different kind of sports, whatever you want for your kids to be able to do. The options are here, and they're right here in Flowood. So it's really important, you know, if you're starting a family here or bringing a family here to the area, you want to know that you're going to have things for everybody in the family to do, and you definitely have those here in Flowood. So just to reassure you there, you're not going to be missing anything. You really, again, like I said in the first pro, there's not a whole lot that you really just have to go out of Flowood on a regular basis for, unless you just want to. Now that's going to wrap up my list of pros, and if my analytics tells me anything from uploading these YouTube videos, it's that what people really come for are the cons. You want to know what are the negatives about an area, what might be those deal breakers for you. And that's what we're going to talk about right now. And as a matter of fact, another thing the analytics tells me is say the words right, Jared. Another thing that the analytics tell me is that you know, about 80% of the people that watch these videos are not subscribed. If you're watching these videos and you're getting value from this because this is the information you're looking for, I love it if you go down there, hit that subscribe button and click the bell. You know, and almost said like. If you want to hit the like button too, that helps us out a lot as well to help us get this information out to more and more people. We are trying to get to 1,000 subscribers soon. We're close to 900 as of the recording of this video. So if you want to help us out with that, we would greatly appreciate it. And since you're going to help us out with that, you're going to subscribe, you're going to like, you're going to do all the things, let's dive right in to these cons, which you really came for. So the first one on my list is that in Flowood, now I mentioned that the reservoir area is kind of auxiliary to Flowood. A lot of the residential areas of what basically feels like Flowood is really in that Reservoir Brandon area. But if you do live in Flowood, you are going to have a little bit of higher cost when it comes to housing and some taxes, registration type things. So what I'm talking about specifically, it is a little difficult to find a house under about $250,000 in Flowood, and only in a few little neighborhoods can you get those price points. There's a lot of newer neighborhoods where you're going to be looking pretty much $300,000 and up for the most part, which in some areas may sound like just dirt cheap compared to some other areas. But here that's getting a little bit on the higher end as far as like an entry point to the market. So you do have that going on in Flowood. The taxes are just a hair higher depending on exactly where you are. Still very low. I mean, you're still talking about effectively about 0.8% annually for property taxes. But you know, it's a little bit higher, just a little bit, where it will hit you, you know, maybe being a couple $100 per year higher than maybe if you were in that Reservoir County area, you know, not inside the city limits of Flowood, is the vehicle registration. And I will pop up a video so that you can see it. I think it'll be over there. I'll pop up that video so you can see where I was talking about our car registration here was just really shocked me. We bought a new vehicle recently here in Flowood, how expensive it was to go get that registration, get the tag for the car. So that is one con that will sneak up on you because, you know, we talk about how affordable it is here in the Jackson Metro. And you may be surprised about some of those little costs that can be a lot more than you expect. You know, a lot of states have just a flat cost or pretty flat cost for like that vehicle registration. Whereas here it's on a sliding scale based on the value of the vehicle. It really plays into factors, you know, how old is the vehicle and things like that. So you go get a new $50,000 vehicle, you know, get ready to pay probably about $800 or $900 on that registration when you go get it. So just something to keep in mind. My next con on the list is that it is farther from the interstates than it is in a lot of the other areas. So a lot of the other cities in the, you know, in the metro area. So if you're looking at Brandon, Pearl, Clinton, Ridgeland, Madison, and the other suburb cities in the area, they're all right along the interstate, whether that be at Interstate 55 or I-20. Whereas Flowood is not on an interstate, we're on Highway 25. So like I mentioned earlier, I said this is the caveat that I mentioned. You know, you can go straight down Highway 25 into Jackson, but you know, there's not a lot of traffic, but you do have a lot of red lights to go through to get there. So you have that kind of to contend to if you're going to be going outside of the area. Like I said, it's easy to get around the area, but it does kind of feel like a hassle if you're getting on the interstate to go somewhere else. You do have to get to the interstate. It's not running right through Flowood like it is in some of these other areas. I'm probably blowing this out of proportion because it still only takes about 15 minutes to get to the interstate from where most people live in Flowood. And that's just because most of the residential area of Flowood is on the northeastern part, which is going to be on the far end of Highway 25 from where those interstates are. So it's going to take you, like I said, at least maybe on a zero traffic time, 10 minutes, but probably more like 15 minutes to get to the interstate from wherever you may live in Flowood. So that's just something to keep in mind. If you want to be right on that interstate and have direct access to that, Flowood may not be the city for you. You may want to look into some of those other cities that I mentioned, or even the city of Jackson. You know, if you want the city living, you're not necessarily having to have that suburb or suburban lifestyle. If you're okay with being in the city, you can be pretty much right along I-20 and I-55 there in Jackson. So something to consider. Number 3 on my cons list is kind of a temporary one because I've already mentioned the solution to this that's going to be coming up in the future. But Flowood really does not have a downtown area. You know, you go to some cities like Brandon, it has the nice little downtown area. Up in Canton has the square. You know, over in Clinton, they've got Old Town. But Flowood, they don't really have a downtown area right now just because the way Flowood just kind of blew up. It's a lot of commercial stuff along Highway 25. But again, no real downtown city center type of area. Now, this will change. We are having the development that's going on right now. I mentioned earlier, Waterpoint. It's going to have that big square area when it's completed. I don't know the time frame on when that's going to be done, but that is coming up. So if you like that kind of the southern downtown square with the old buildings, we don't have that. And I hate to say it, but we never will have that here in Flowood, just because, I mean, if you don't have it, you can't get it. But we will have a downtown area, it just won't have the old buildings and exactly the same charm. And I'm sure they're going to be building in a lot of charm with it. It'll just be, you know, a newer development. So we're gonna have that at the water point. It's supposed to be really nice. Honestly, I can't wait for it to be done. But that is coming up soon. Until then, though, you'll be waiting. You don't have quite that downtown. If you want that, again, Flowood may not quite yet be the city for you, but there are other options. But let's keep on going. I've got 2 more cons on the list. The next one is just that, you know, if you're somebody who really is into like the nightlife scene, you like to go out and party, have a good time, I'm not going to tell you that you can't do it in Flowood, but there's really not a lot of it, you know, that you can go do compared to some other areas. You know, now there are some places that you can go out on the wrist, but most of those, you know, your nightlife areas are going to be downtown. So you're going to have to go down to Jackson. Now you can get there easily, straight down Highway 25, but you're not going to have that exactly in Flowood. And I'm going to add this along with that. There's not a lot of local fine dining. Now, if you want to call it fine dining, can you call Longhorn Steakhouse fine dining? I don't know. But if you want to go there for a date night, you can do that. But if you want like a local place, you've got Table 100. I mentioned Amerigo's. You know, just there's not a ton of those type of options around the area. Now, if you do want to find those, you can go get tons of those options in downtown Jackson, along with the nightlife. Not just downtown, but downtown in the district area. You've got several different things there going on. So definitely check those out if that's something you're interested in. We don't have those in Flowood, so if you want those just right outside your door, again, you know, that could be an issue for you. But if you're okay having to drive a little bit to get to those, take an Uber, whatever the case may be, you can at least do that. Now, I just alluded to my last con on the list, and my 5th one here. You know, like I said, you can take an Uber if you want to get downtown to that nightlife, to those fine dining options that they have down there. But you're definitely not going to be taking any public transportation, because there is zero. None. Not at all. There's no buses. There's no rails. There's nothing that you can do public transportation wise in Flowood. So if you don't have your own car or some kind of reliable transportation, you're going to have a hard time getting around. So if that is something that you are contending with, you know, if you don't have a vehicle, or if you don't want to have a vehicle, you know what, I hate that I made you wait till the end of the video to find this out. But you're probably not going to want to live in Flowood. Now, I've heard that Uber and Lyft have like a subscription thing you can get. I don't know exactly how that works, so maybe that's a way for you to get around it. But as far as, you know, a normal type of city metro transit type of thing, it doesn't exist. The only thing that we have in this entire area really that's going to be like that is going to be J-Tran in Jackson, their bus network. But that's only within the city limits of Jackson. It does not go out to any of the suburbs, only within the city. So they're going to, if you live in Flowood, they'll take you to the county line right there at the Pearl River, and then they're going to turn around and let you walk the rest of the way, I guess. But that's all you got. So y'all, I hope you really enjoyed this video. I hope I gave you some good insight into all the good things and the bad things about living in Flowood. Again, if I missed something, if you're local, you want to provide more insight, I'd love it if you go down there and leave us a comment. Or if you've got questions about things that I didn't answer, again, leave those in the comments too, or send us a message, whatever you got to do. I'd love to be able to help you find the answer to whatever it is that you're looking for about Flowood, or anything else, any other city in the area. So don't hesitate. You know, and again, if you want to see more videos, you want to see the pros and cons of other cities around the area, make sure that you hit that subscribe and click the bell, because we've got these videos coming out every single week. I'm also going to be revising our main video where I talk about the pros and cons of living in the Jackson metro area. That's why I didn't really touch on the fact that, you know, it's hot. You know, it is. It gets very hot here in the summer. It gets very humid. I left that for the overall video that I did. I'll pop it up again. But we did that, and we'll be refreshing that soon with some updated pros and cons for living in the metro area as a whole. But we're also going to be talking about the individual cities and why you might or might not pick those individual places to live. And if you're really thinking about living in one of those places, you're thinking about making a move here to the area, I've said it before, I'll say it again, you got to reach out to us. However you want to do it, call us, text us, email us, DM us. If you're close enough and you can really be loud enough, just go ahead, get it, and break out the megaphone. You know, it really don't matter how you get in touch with us, just as long as you do it, because we've got your back moving here to the Jackson Metro. Thank y'all for watching this one. As always,